a very important election that's coming up will determine whether or not we hold the Senate.
Republicans work to sustain momentum in Georgia. This is your 2020 fix. After becoming the first Republican president to lose Georgia in decades, President Trump has zeroed in on that state for his accusations about baseless, widespread voter fraud.
In Georgia, they're using the same horrible Dominion system.
This isn't despite the fact that legal challenges he and his allies have launched in the state have so far failed, and that several recounts led by Republican election officials have shown that Biden was indeed the winner. But this is all happening as elections in Georgia aren't quite done. There are 2 Senate races that will go to runoffs on January 5th because Republicans got more votes in the November Senate races, but they didn't get to 50%. And so they'll be facing off against Democrats in races that will decide the control of the Senate. Trump's voter fraud claims are threatening to depress turnout among some Republican voters that Republicans really need in order to win these races. Trump's allies in Georgia are arguing that if the election was rigged or fraudulent, as the president claims, why even bother to come out and vote? Trump could do a whole lot to simmer this inter-party fighting in Georgia that is not helping Republicans right now.
You know, they're going through hearings right now in Georgia, and they're finding tremendous volumes, so they haven't looked very hard, which is a disappointment, to be honest with you, because it's massive fraud.
But he's really not. He's urged Republicans in Georgia to go out and vote, but he's doing it at the same time that he's telling Republicans that voting isn't safe, especially in Georgia right now, and that the election was and is rigged. It's a contradictory statement that reflects how the president is more focused on himself and trying to save face after his own election loss than in supporting the health of Senate Republicans in 2 races that are arguably more important than what Trump is fighting for, because they will determine whether Republicans can hold the line against a Biden and Democratic control of Congress next year.
If Biden can get away from this extreme part of his party, he might make some deals. So we might be in a position where we could, if they end up being in power, we could end up in a position to do some of these big lifts, potentially.
In the absence of Trump's explicit help to tamp down on voter concerns about fraud in the state, Perdue and Loeffler are stuck in a really tough political position. They cannot afford to acknowledge that President Trump lost because they need President Trump's supporters to come out for them in January. But that means they also can't argue that they're this firewall against a Democratic control of Washington, which is a really potent political argument, especially in a swing conservative state like Georgia. We're a few weeks from the January runoff, and it remains to be seen whether President Trump and Senate Republicans in Georgia can get on the same page.